The thing about your stories, Lindsay was saying in the darkness as they approached the forest in front of them, is that they still don't have any morals, and you can't do a good girl voice, and you don't really talk enough about everyone else. The story is still about you. But anyway, I can imagine this Catherine now, a little bit. She's clever, and she's just a little mean to you. I think you get off on that. Most guys do. That's how I got Colin, really. Katrina was hotter and wanted him worse. They'd been dating for a while when he fell for me. But she was too easy. I know she's my friend, and possibly Hassan's girlfriend, and whatever, but Katrina's easier than a 4-piece jig puzzle. Colin laughed, and Lindsay went on talking. Getting people to like you is so easy, really. It's a wonder more people don't do it. It's not so easy for me. Whatever. I like you, and I never really like anybody. Hassan likes you, and I can tell that he never really likes anybody either. You just need more people who don't like people. You never really like anybody? They passed into the woods, following a narrow, periodically invisible trail. Lindsay motioned towards the trees and said, "You sure shot the holy hell out of this forest, smarty pants. Wouldn't that be something if you bagged a hog?" "I don't really want to kill a pig," Colin noted. He had read Charlotte's Web, see. Then he repeated himself. "You don't ever really like anybody." "Well, that's an exaggeration, I guess," she answered. "It's just that I learned a long while ago that the best way to get people to like you is to not like them too much." "But you care about a lot of people." "The oldsters?" Colin offered. "Well, the oldsters are different," she said, and then stopped walking and turned to Colin, who was already out of breath as he struggled up the hill behind her. "The thing about the oldsters, I think, is that they never screwed with me, so I don't worry about them. So, yeah, oldsters and babies. They're the exceptions." They walked in silence for a long time through the dense flat brush, with thin trees rising straight and high all around them. The trail became increasingly steep, zigzagging up the hill, until they finally came to a rocky outcropping, perhaps 15 feet high, and Lindsay Lee Wells said, "And now comes the rock climbing." Colin looked up the craggy face of the stone. "There are probably people who can successfully negotiate their way up that rock," he thought, "but I am not one of them." "No way," he said. She turned back toward him, her cheeks flushed and glistening with sweat. "I'm kidding." She scampered up a wet, mossy boulder, and Colin followed. Immediately, he saw a narrow, chest-high crack covered over by a spiderweb. "See? I'm taking you here because you're the only guy I know who's skinny enough. Squeeze on through," she said. Colin pushed the spiderweb aside. "Sorry, Charlotte." He turned sideways, crouched down, and inched away from the fading light outside. Soon, he was completely blind, his knees and back and head all against the rock, and for a moment he panicked, thinking Lindsay had tricked him and would leave him wedged in here. But he kept shuffling his feet forward. Something glided against his back. He screamed. "Relax, it's just me," she said. Her hands found his shoulders, and she said, "Take one more step." And then he could no longer feel the rock pressing in on him. He turned him so that he was facing forward. "Keep walking," she said. "You can stand up straight now." And then her hands disappeared, and he heard her sweeping at the ground. And she said, "I keep a flashlight here, but I can't Got it." She pressed the flashlight into his hands, and he fumbled with it, and then the world lit up. "Wow," said Colin. Approximately square, the cave's only room was big enough to lie down comfortably in any direction, although the grey-brown ceiling sloped down towards the back, making it hard to stand in a lot of places. It contained a blanket, a sleeping bag, several old throw pillows, and one unmarked mason jar filled with some sort of liquid. He nudged it with his foot. "Booze," Lindsay explained. "Where'd you get it?" "There's a guy out in Danville who makes corn whiskey moonshine. No shit. And he'll sell it to you if you've got $10 and are old enough to walk." Colin gave it to me. I told him I drank it, but really I brought it out here, 'cause it adds ambience. Colin moved the flashlight slowly around the cave's walls. "Sit down," Lizzie said, "and turn off the light." And then it was the kind of dark your eyes never adjust to.